Good evening, everyone. Sorry I'm running a little bit late. This day's been very hectic. I'll wait for some of you to get on here just a couple minutes. But my day has been anything but normal. As you see, I don't have my tie. I hope my campaign staff doesn't decide that. Okay, anyway, the day was very busy. Things that I had planned on getting done were put on side. I had a dear friend who needed help, and I was the only one available to help. And I'm glad that I was blessed with the tools to be able to help my friend. Everything's good. He's back home. He's resting at home tonight, and that's a good thing. So mission accomplished. Last night we had some very good input as far as everyone was talking about, asking about different things. And I really appreciate the input that I received last night. A lot of shares happening. Last night I saw faces and names that I had not seen on our post before, and I was very, very blessed by seeing that. Thank you. One of the things that I'd like to talk about today is some of the current events that have been happening. We have a real tragedy going on in our Gulf states. Houston and surrounding areas in the path of Hurricane Harvey were hit very hard. And pleased to say that one of the local radio stations, Cairo, particularly the Ron and Don show and Dory Munson talk shows, were able to convey to us the amount of money that was raised for the people in Houston area, and it'll fan out. But I think it was almost $600,000 that's going to Houston. No money taken out. The money raised is going to Houston to be used to help the people recover. There's a lot of sad stories coming out of where a whole family lost their lives in the back of a van trying to escape the rising water. I saw a picture of Interstate 10 that I had just driven this past May, visiting family in Florida, and it looked like the Gulf of Mexico. Waves on Interstate 10. And so they're hit really hard, and some of the storm is moving into Louisiana and the other Gulf states, and there's a lot of evacuations going on everywhere in the South right now. The sad part is 5 years ago, all the senators and congressmen in Texas voted against relief for Katrina, including our vice president, who was then the Indiana governor. Maybe he was in Congress at that time. Yeah, something like that. But Pence has been a thorn in everybody's side. His evangelical passages and everything, I don't see. I think he uses the word God and Christ interjectively to get his point across and get people to feel like they are breaking God's law. Anyway, all kinds of news. Welcome, Sirion. The women's health came up. Since I have one woman here with me tonight, women's health came up, and I think that we've seen the battle for where the health clinics, the care clinics, for designed to help women with needs, reproductive needs, or just general health, have been accused of doing things that they weren't doing. Under the health care plan that I'm proposed, they wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. People wouldn't have to worry about pre-existing conditions. But back to women's health. Men, we don't have nobody tell us what we're going to do with our body. In fact, Viagra is a recognized drug for erectile dysfunction. And we can get it, and it's subsidized, and we can get the prescription and everything. But if a woman wants a morning after pill, or or to protect herself from a rape that occurred, she is the one who is usually accused of being the instigator of that incident. Now, good evening, Justin. I'm not going to say those things about women. As a father to 3 daughters, as a father to twice as many granddaughters, their health and their rights are no different than mine. If I need a surgery to save my life, then they should be able to do the same thing. If they're a single woman, who's to tell them what they need for their health? If there's something that they want for their health that has to be done, they should have no problem doing it. And while we're in that area, let's talk about pregnancies that were unplanned. Now, some people would tell you that it was God's will. Well, guess what? It's between you and God, according to okay? It's between you and God. Whether you believe or not, it's between you and God. I think that women that are in relationships, they're going to talk with their significant other to come up with something. If there's trouble with a woman's health, there should be no reason why she should have to carry that child. Tragedy as it is, she may have the opportunity to restore her health and perhaps conceive again. But don't make her out a villain because one or other may not make it when the child comes time to be born. The child could be lost or the mother, or even both. But that's okay with some people. That's okay with some people. They want to take that right away from women. Let me tell you right now, I stand with your right. Making decisions over life and death and whether or not it's going to be you or your child that you carry, or maybe even both. It's the one that you have to make that is going to benefit you and your family. No one else. You should be able to make that decision freely with no restrictions and no consequences except we live with that tragedy the rest of our life. I have experienced abortion in my life. My partner, who was later my wife, we talked about that. And we made the choice together. And I went with her. She didn't want me to come in, but I waited for her where we parked our car. It was not good for either one of us. It was very painful. But we knew circumstances were beyond our control, and we needed to protect our family. And that's what we did, painful as it was. So if you want to know my choice, I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-choice, and especially when it comes down to the woman. I mean, do you want your daughter or your spouse to carry a child that was conceived out of rape or molestation? No, I don't. I don't. If my child is a minor and that happens to her, you can bet that I will take every means to protect her future. Every means to protect her and her future. If it was something that was against the law, I'm going to be all over that person who did it to her. If it happens to you, I'm going to be all over that person who did it to you. Now, I'm not a judge. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a prosecutor. But I will, with extreme prejudice, pursue justice for you. We need to stop walking around on broken glass, walking around on nice paper, afraid that we're going to tear it, which we know we will. But we come down to choices. Your choice is your choice, dear girl, dear woman, dear mother, dear wife, daughter, cousin, niece, your choice. Don't let anybody ever tell you different. You come speak to me, you know. I'll hear you out, and we'll work together on solving that issue. I don't know how you all feel about that, but a woman's health is a woman's choice and a woman's direction on how she wants to do it. No one else's. I can't tell my wife to go get a breast exam, but I can insist that she does. Okay? I can't make her, but I can insist that she does and provide her the insurance that she needs to go have it done. If you love somebody, you support them. If you love somebody, when they hurt, you're there beside them. So think about women's health and the women's rights. Remember, we're only paying them 75 cents on the dollar compared to a man. And then we throw this restriction on them too, that they may end up being a single parent. Where is your heart? If you disagree with me on those things, well, you disagree. And your disagreeing or my agreeing doesn't make it right. But what does make it right is giving the individual freedom of choice. We have freedom of choice when we marry. We have freedom of choice where we'd like to live. We have freedom of choice of where we're going to go vacation. The woman needs the same rights and the same pay as a man, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I will tell you this. I was raised by a single mom, and we didn't always have everything we needed. But the one thing that we had was love. That was one thing that held us together. Now, if we let women have that much money and everything, World War II, I'm going to go back 60, 70 years here for a second. When that war occurred and engulfed the whole world, it was terrible. And men went off to fight, to defend, to conquer the enemy who was trying to destroy the world. Women stepped up to the plate. They flew airplanes. They ferried airplanes, supplies. They ran the factories. They made the tanks, the jeeps, the rifles. Yeah, there were some old geezers in there like me, okay? But it was more or less technical advice. But the women were doing the hard stuff. They were doing the stuff that their male counterparts were doing, okay? So why can't women have the same pay? Why can't they? And I guess when the 1% decided, oh my gosh, look, the husband and wife can both work. We can take even more money from them. And we don't have to pay as much. We'll do that in stages. Okay, so they won't notice it so much. And that way we can pinpoint the blame someplace else. Well, since we know where the blame is at, it's important that we make sure that our women, and 40% of my audience last night that was here with all of us were women, 40% of them. Okay. To me, that is not a minority. That is almost half the audience. And because of that, why can't they have the same pay rights, the same health rights that men do? And if you disagree, no, I want to know. I want to know how you feel about women's rights. Should they get the same pay for equal work that a man does? I tell you what, there are some smart women out there, and I have experienced working with them, being camaraderie with them when I was in the Marine Corps. Sharp as a tack, devoted, convicted, compelled to do it right, and still raise a family. Think about that, fellas. Think about that. I mean, my mama, she did it. I've my daughter, she did a little bit of it. I've known other women who have done it too, and I've had a chance to meet their children. And quite frankly, if you're going to put, an example, that's an example of good old American hard work. We got to stop letting ourselves be divided. And one of the ways that they divide us is sexual, between men and women. Okay? And why these women support some of these actions by these congressmen who write our bills and these senators who write our bills and make amendments, and they put balls and chain on our women. Evangelicals, I guess they forgot about the part where where the disciple in the word is talked about the weaker vessel and how we should protect her. And the story is that the woman goes out during the day and she brings in what the home needs for that day, and the men were staying at home educating and teaching the children. Now, that's the way it used to be a long, long time ago. But then I guess we got all macho and everything and didn't want to give the women that kind of control. But you've heard the saying, behind every good man, there's a great woman. Believe me, I know. I've known a few of those women. Fantastic women. So one thing you don't want me to do is get ticked off because my daughters or my granddaughters or my neighbors, that their rights are taken away from them or slowed down or hindered or restricted into what they can do. So open a door for a lady sometime and smile and, do a greeting. I'm not saying try to pick her up or anything. Come on, guys, get a grip here. We're talking about equality to women, treating them like you want to be treated, with kindness, respect. Be nice. Open a door every now and then. And smile. You never know. They might be having a bad day. And it might make your day a little bit better too, okay? Thank you, Sarion, for that comment. And welcome, Justin. It's good to see you. It's good to see you, Hubba Bubba. Justin is my nephew. He and his family live back in Ohio. He has a beautiful family. And his dad happens to be my middle brother. So who is a pretty good basketball. He knows his sports. My brother John knows his sports as well as my brother Kevin. They know their sports, and when the three of us would play 3-on-3 on basketball, I was pretty much called the hack. I didn't have any basketball skills or real football skills. I was 5'11", and I was built low to the ground. I was quick, I was fast, and I was the defensive guy that was in your face. Now, I'm a little tired of playing defense. We've been playing it too long. We're going on the offense. We're going to score some points. And I take all that from my brothers. We kicked butt, okay? We were awesome 3-on-3 basketball. Kevin and John, they'd make the points. I just get in the guy who made all the points on the other team. I just pretend I was just plastic sheet. He couldn't move. We won a lot of games. The thing is, when we had pickup games, I'm almost done with this story. When we had pickup games, I'm not the guy who would get chosen. John and Kevin, my brothers, would get chosen. I mean, because they saw those two working in tandem with each other. Two power forwards. I mean, they were awesome. They were awesome in their youth. Awesome. They would get picked all the time. I mean, not me though. Okay, but it was my pleasure. It was my honor. I mean, every chance I to get, I could play with them. I play, and But yeah, I miss those days. But those are the glory days, and they're fond days. That's for me. And I learned a lot from my brothers in the sports and teamwork. And like I said, I did a lot of defense, and that time is over. We're going on the offense, folks. We're going to go on the offense, and we're going to kick some butt. We're going to kick butt and take names. And the names we take are going to be paying for the damage that they've done to this great nation. I know when I was growing up, I could drink the water right out of the creek. I go down there now, it's liable to catch fire. So those days are gone for our kids. Maybe in a couple generations, we can restore something like that. Maybe in 100 years, our grandchildren will be able to, great-grandchildren will be able to enjoy drinking from a stream like that. But we have to get some regulation on the environment. And I know there's some good women out there that can help make it happen. Okay? You want to be part of that environmental team that I'm putting together as far as my platform and position on the environment? Contact me. Let me know. Let's get something going. Now, what were some of the highlights in today's news that I saw? I saw that Donald Trump wanted, while he was talking to the people in Missouri, misery almost, because of Hurricane Harvey's not too far from that, but talking about dropping the corporate tax rate to 15%. That's less than what I pay. That's less than what I pay. And I don't know how many of you got tax returns last year's, but I didn't. I haven't gotten a tax return since 2013. And I think maybe 2012. 2013 was the last time I got a tax return. Now, here we are, you know, I'm paying, my wife and I, we pay over half our income just in real estate taxes, insurance, to maintain this home. Now, how many more of you are suffering like that? And what type of return did you get? Did it cover the expenses on the taxation and everything else that you received, and the insurance and the interest that you paid on things? It's important that share that with me. You can say yes or no. Did your income tax return take care of all of your taxation and interest that you paid during the year? Simple answer, simple question, simple answer. You don't have to get into details. Yes or no. And because I want to see where our tax dollars are going. I want to see how much taxes we are paying. Because I know that people like Donald Trump aren't. They're getting a tax refund. I know people like the Waltons, owners of Walmart, are not paying taxes. They're getting nice tax breaks. And yet most of their employees, from what I understand, from talking to them, hours worked, etc., and actual interviews done by them, that some of them are on food assistance and go to the community food banks. And if they speak up, they're out of there, or they don't get hardly any hours. Right to work states make it possible so that they pay the employee what they say the wage is going to be. And there'll be increases in their wages based on their performance. Now, what happens there is, at the right to work state, they have the right to fire you with no reason at all. They can say anything they want. Oh, your shoelaces weren't tied right, or you know, you didn't shave, you missed the part where you shaved. I mean, I know that sounds a little absurd, but if you've ever been fired, then you know, what did I do? Oh, maybe I spoke up. Maybe I said something that didn't please them. So it's important, folks, that we stand up for each other. I'm not advocating you quit your job at Walmart if you work there, or advising anyone who does. The economy that we have is not worthy of losing your job over principles. And an example is demanding that you get more, or demanding that your employer considers, or where are you going to get another job if that's the biggest employer in your area, right? So what do we do? Well, first of all, we get rid of those laws in your states that are right to work. We start encouraging unions to go into areas that aren't normally union shops. You get a chance to join a union. You get a chance to buy union. Support your union and your union members. Because of unions, you've got a 40-hour work week. You've got insurance. You've got retirement. You've got something happening. You've got time and a half. Thank you to the unions. So if you get a chance, do your best to always hire a union contractor. Now, I've been independent in my work too, and I wasn't a union shop because usually sole proprietors aren't. I mean, that's where the dichotomy of the situation is. And what I mean by that is you want us to support unions, but what about the small businessman? Well, I think that the small businessman takes priority over the union, but there's many ways that you can support the union. Many ways. One, you can work with them. They'll come into your business and they can help you with your safety, and they won't charge you for it. But your safety program that you'd have to ensure safety in the workplace, they can help you. Now, don't be surprised if some woman shows up now. Okay, equal rights, equal pay, and some of them are more knowledgeable and more determined because we put that competition inside them, because even though they're not getting paid the same as we are, they want to show you that they're worth it. Okay? So don't be surprised if a woman shows up at your shop or where you work and is advising you on safe practices. Now, not all the safe practices that are recommended by a union member or even a safety committee is going to be one that can actually pertain to your particular business. And common safety, common sense is usually the best safety. If it looks dangerous, maybe it is. What can you do to make it safer? Okay? I've run chainsaws a lot. Okay, rotary swords inside your hands, chop a leg off, sever an artery real quick, and I've cut myself up a couple of times with them. Okay, busted my ankle up a couple of times with them too. It hit me right in the shin. I cut that limb the wrong way, and not checking to make sure that there was torque on it, I knocked myself to the ground. I was okay, but it sure hurt like heck for a long time. So back to women. If a woman had been doing that job with me, okay, she probably would have said, we've got a pinch over here. You might want to approach it from a different angle, which would have saved me from getting knocked to the ground. Yes, I'm going to keep bringing women into the situation, okay? I've got wonderful daughters. I've got beautiful granddaughters. And I just want the best for them. And I know I can see some of the audience, I know that they have children and granddaughters too. I think you're a little young to have that, Justin, granddaughters just yet, but one day you will. And you'll see what Dave is talking about. It's so nice to have family on here tonight. It's so nice to have family on here tonight. Now, I'm going to rebroadcast this here later on. But as I mentioned earlier, I had a friend that was in dire need. And the things that I wanted to talk about tonight were positions on my platform. Healthcare, which we touched a little bit. Judicial reform. The comment came up today when I met somebody. Well, what do you think about them Confederate flags and them taking down all them monuments? I said, well, it is a historical monument, but most of them weren't put up until the 50s when the civil rights movement started. And the person that asked me that question said, yeah, you're right. And I said, I think the thing that really gets in my craw, and most of the service people that I know gets in their craw too, is when you see a Nazi flag flying right next to an Aryan Nation flag, right next to a Confederate flag. And the gentlemen that are in that group picture, I have no respect for. My father fought against Nazis. I've seen what Aryan Nation punks did in Wilmington, Ohio. They came to Wilmington, Ohio, and thought they were real badasses, okay? And they shot it out with our sheriff's department. Fortunately, nobody got hurt. But I think maybe it was staged. I think maybe it was staged because you pick up a pistol and you're shooting it, I don't care, okay? Those of you who've played video games that you have to dump quarters into a machine know what I'm talking about. You don't waste your shots. And I think maybe a windshield got shot or something, but it was pretty sloppy shooting. I know that if I would have pulled a weapon and they were shooting at me like that with a weapon with the intent to hurt me, we could have taken those Keyhole brothers, who are from the Spokane area here in Washington State. We would have been taking them to the morgue. So I think it was all staged. There's a large contingency of those type of people, I understand, groups, I guess, because my experience knowing about the Keyhole brothers. And that's a wonderful name when you think about Keyhole. I mean, they hold the key to the Aryan Nation, or that, you know, it's people like them that they're able to put the key in and get them to do those kind of things, travel 2,500 miles to shoot it out with the local sheriff's department. But no, back to those flags and monuments. I don't appreciate those acts, those displays of hatred. Okay? Now, I have seen my brothers of color say, well, yeah, that's okay. It doesn't bother me. I've seen it on Facebook. That's okay. It's okay. And even well-known people, oh, that's okay. That's okay. But it's the same flag that the KKK uses. Okay? And to me, that's America's largest homegrown terrorist group, is the KKK. Offshoots of the KKK, Aryan Nations. In fact, it was the mafia who took on the KKK and disrupted their ability to do things during WW2. I don't have any problem hating hate groups. I know that sounds bad, that I would hate something, but when all you do is preach about and shout about segregation, even the destruction of or the deportation of a group of people, where are they going to go? Because once you're in power, are you going to attack that country and annihilate it? Like, how many Native people died in the building of this country? How many? One too many. We make treaties and then we break them. Standing Rock was one of those instances. And I'd like to talk about the women of Standing Rock here while I'm at it. The women of Standing Rock, they were on the front lines. They were injured. Rubber bullets shot at them, and some people, you know, injured pretty badly. Sprayed with mace, pepper spray, military grade, water cannons in 25 degrees or less freezing temperature. Water freezes at 32, water cannons sprayed on you at 25 and below. What the XL pipeline did to Standing Rock was an act of war committed by the governor of South Dakota, North Dakota, and all along that pipeline route. Canada, in proxy, declared war on First People. and extended it through their pipeline to get their dirty oil to the Gulf of Mexico, which was not destined for U.S. markets. So we're damaging our ecosystem. This is where the smart women in ecology come from, because the women in Flint, Michigan, whose children are damaged forever by the irresponsibility acts of the governor, czar-type rulings to emergency managers, disregarding the will of the people and the elected officials that they put in there. But no, that was an act of war against our first people. Again, after a treaty was signed, I'm surprised the United Nations has not sent peacekeepers in to take care of the situation. They have every right to, with a UN vote, security vote, even though the United States would veto it. They could end up being here. Soldiers from another country coming here to enforce laws that our states are in violation of. But we, the United States, are in violation of human rights. We're on the forefront. Oh, no, no, no. But we militarize our police. We let mercenaries, the last time mercenaries were in this country was during our Revolutionary War, and I believe General Washington kicked their ass. Yeah, Hessians, German professional soldiers, mercenaries. Yes, we weren't even a nation then. But that's the last time mercenaries were on our shores, on our land. And they were there at Standing Rock, a peaceful people that our government would allow and ply with liquor. So we owe reparations to the Lakota Nation and all the First People for the infringements that we have made on treaties, the violations and so-called easements that we are allowed to do. I say this day, right now, all of those treaties that were made by the United States of America, signed by our Congress and our President, those in office at that time when the treaty was signed, and if it found that any of that part of that treaty was made under duress, I mean, we took everything from them and we put them on a piece of land that was worthless. That's slow genocide. We as a nation who declared equal rights and freedom and expression of oneself, I mean, they couldn't get off the reservation until 1965. They weren't allowed off. They could get off, but they were only able to get off if they were in uniform or they joined. How many of you saw the movie Windtalkers? Okay. An example of how we were able to advance on the enemy by using First Peoples language. And it sounded similar to a lot of things that they'd heard, but it was nothing. They couldn't get it. We have abused our privileges as a nation. We are the most mightiest nation in this world. And our might doesn't come from the military that we have, as some may think. Our might comes from our unity as a people. We need to stop all pipelines going across this country. We can free ourselves from oil, plain and simple. We can free ourselves from oil. I know I like the sound of a Detroit motor, and I like the power that a diesel offers. But the torque that you can get with an electric motor and the right gearing and the right charging and battery system, those vehicles can have the range from 200 to up to 1,500. Yes, from 200 to 1,500 miles per charge. And on interstate speeds. It comes in gearing, it comes in the power source, it comes in the recharging system, it comes in the capacity of the batteries. OTR trucks, think of the fuel they save. Think of the money that they'll start being able to make for themselves and their family because they're not spending 45% of their cost on fuel. Yes, we're going to still need oil, but we don't burn oil. We don't burn oil to go, go, go. We use oil to lubricate so that our machines can run. So let's think about green energy a little bit as well. Now just remember, good, dedicated women are going to be helping build those vehicles. They deserve equal pay in regards to that. Who knows? They might even have the next innovative breakthrough to propel us even further on that type of propulsion. But there's no reason why we as a nation can't go completely green. Yes, we can have electricity, even power steel plants. Okay? We can even have that. You can generate enough electricity, you could power a steel plant. Therefore, eliminating some of the emissions. Now, I can't wait till my granddaughters get older. I hope to see my great-grandchildren as well. I love my life. I love the experiences that I've had in it. And I know that people listening to me also have had those moments as well. We've overcome sorrow. We've overcome adversity. But we need to make sure that we do our best for the next generation so that they have every opportunity that was presented to us. Example, education. We'll cover more on that, education. I don't think education should throw you in debt, because if you have a student loan debt that's really big, chances are you're not going to get the job that you want so that you can pay that student debt off. Okay? Which also stops your ability to continue your education into another field. Healthcare. Yeah. Simple as having a Social Security card. It doesn't matter what's wrong with you. No pre-existing conditions. Every American, not the ACA reached 18 million new subscribers. Well, guess what? The platform that I'm putting out there and the position that I've taken on healthcare, I'm not sure how Senator Sanders' healthcare was, because he spoke of healthcare for all. My healthcare for all just requires a few switches and a couple of pathways and some merging of information on computers. It doesn't make any difference how big the database is, okay? We're talking about a computer doing the work for us, making sure that the data gets where it has to be. But let me go back to the healthcare. With your Social Security card, you're tied into everything. You buy a car, Social Security card. You get insurance, Social Security card. You do a credit report, Social Security card. You buy a house, Social Security card. You go to the store to get credit, a Social Security card. Everything you do, even your medical bills, are tied to Social Security card. So why not make it one-stop shopping, okay? We have all those databases that are out there. So what do? We take those databases and we merge them. Everyone immediately gets healthcare, a simple alphanumeric code, which would include your Social Security card as a prime identifier, which would take it right to your account, no matter where you were in the country. So you wouldn't have to worry about calling your doctor. You just go to the emergency room if it's an emergency, or make an appointment if you're going to be in that area, or if you're new to an area, you'll be able to start your medical thing because it's all online, like so many medical professionals are trying to do now. I think you'll see some insurance companies talking about it. Are you going to get rid of your insurance companies? I don't know, but you wouldn't have to worry about your glasses. If you could do LASIK surgery, you could have LASIK surgery and you wouldn't have to have that. But whatever the thing was, if it improved your standard of living and there was a health remedy for that, you'd be able to, and you wouldn't have to worry about paying 5, 6, 20, going into bankrupt because of something that medically you needed. Okay? Social Security card, It becomes your ID into the Medicare system, the single payer system. Very simple. Many things down the road, that same process could be used to eliminate voter fraud completely. That same process could do so many more things for us that we would not have to worry about healthcare, and we wouldn't have to worry about our education. We wouldn't have to worry about anything, basically, because we'd be working. We'd be getting things done. And I think that we're moving to that, okay? But right now, Americans need healthcare. And 350 million Americans into the healthcare system. There's a lot of people out there healthy. I'd say that 85, maybe 90% of us are healthy, and we hardly see a doctor, and we hardly ever take an aspirin, or sneeze, allergies, don't need glasses, good dental, everything. I mean, chances are we won't see a doctor, but we'll pay it into the system, okay? And it'll be there when we get there. Everybody paying the same amount. Families would have a rate. Single people would have a rate. Co-pays would be the same. Very simple, very easy to do. Stroke of a pen. That's all it takes. Changing all the bills now and modifying them to amid to single payer. Use of ID card, which is your Social Security card, and a code for healthcare. Okay? So, we can talk more on that and get more details on that, but that's one of the platforms that I have. Justice reform. I love that one too. We've got a few minutes left, and I'm going to call it a night, but I encourage you to leave comments. I'm so pleased to see you show up. There will be a rebroadcast of this on another webpage that I have. Look forward. We are on DaveStriderForUSSenate.com. We'll be migrating all the videos and information to that website. You can contact us. You can volunteer there. Remember, register to vote. Support progressives in your area. But most of all, what happens to you in your state and your senator tries to fix it. If it messes something up in somebody else's state, it's not worth fixing. We need a fix that is going to make it so it works for everybody, not just a few, not just a segment of the population. We're in this together. Don't forget it. That is what is troubling. That's why we're split into divisions. That's why we're divided by race, by sex, by color. We're all one. We're humans. My O positive blood, if you've got O positive blood, I can give you blood to help save your life. The same goes if you have O positive blood, you can give it to help save my life. It doesn't matter. We are all the same. Be kind to each other. Open the door for a woman every now and then and smile and wish her a happy afternoon or good morning. Smile. Let her know she's appreciated. And for you men that are in relationships, I'm sure that your significant other, and I mean that wholeheartedly, your significant other will appreciate it. And who knows, you might get that pudding that you've been wanting. I put on a tremendous amount of weight when I was in the Marine Corps there for a while. I ate a box of pudding every night before going to bed. I do not advise that for anybody to do. Your clothes won't fit you, okay? And but my wife, she loved me so much that she let me have that bowl of pudding, a whole box of instant Jell-O pudding, and it would be butterscotch, vanilla, or chocolate. All three were good, and I would have wholeheartedly eat all three. And I just wish you the best today. I wish you the best this evening. I wish you all a happy life. I'll be here again tomorrow at 8. I'll have a prepared statement that I will post prior to it with the details of what we're going to talk about. Thanks for my platform. And if there's something that you want to talk about, something that really interests you, please drop us a line at our .com or here at this Facebook page, and I will address that in tomorrow night's live broadcast. Thank you for being here, and always live the truth.